At Chrysler Corporation, we believe that in the automobile business, more than in any other field of endeavor, you lead, follow, or get out of the way. And in that spirit, as an official sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team, we're pleased to bring you these great Olympic moments.
We saw that we could move the windshield forward on a sedan and reduce wind noise while increasing visibility. We saw that moving the wheels toward the corners would result in greater stability and more passenger room. We saw that this cab-forward design is not only more aerodynamic, it looks like nothing else on the road. And now that we've seen what's possible in a four-door sedan, we can't see building one any other way. Intrepid. This changes everything. We saw that a sedan could have standard airbags for both driver and passenger without costing a fortune. That thoughtful touches like air ducts in back as well as in front could enhance passenger comfort. We saw that with a cab-forward design, we could devote less room to machinery and gain more room for people. And now that we've seen what's possible in a four-door sedan, we can't see building one any other way. Intrepid. This changes everything. Can you spot the award-winning child seat in this picture? Give up? The Intrepid's child seat is built in. It's kind of like Intrepid's traction control system, anti-lock brakes, or its standard airbags for the driver and front passenger. You can't see them, but they're there when you need them. Intrepid. This changes everything. It has a 10-cylinder, 400-horsepower engine and seats up to 7. It hits over 1 G on a skid pad and has an available built-in child seat. Its front fenders resist dents and chips. It has 133 sound deadeners, silencers, baffles, and mufflers. And there's room in back for 49 bags of groceries. Caravan, Viper, and Intrepid. The new Dodge.
Hello, I'm Mike Garuzioni. I was captain of the 1980 United States Olympic hockey team. We were the upstarts who came out of nowhere to beat the heavily favored Soviets and then the team from Finland to win the gold. Back here in Boston, where I live, and all across this great country, our victory at Lake Placid became a symbol of determination and courage, winning out against outrageous odds. A real American story. Athletes from the United States have produced dozens, hundreds of dramatic stories throughout the history of the Olympic Games. You are about to see some of them. Be prepared to be thrilled, because these are not just sporting events. These are the Olympic Games. And these fabulous men and women are not just achieving personal goals. They're winning for all of us.
From our perspective, late in the 20th century, it can be hard to imagine the small scale and intimacies of the early modern Olympic Games. Today, more than 10,000 men and women from 160 countries compete in the Games. In 1896, 13 nations sent just 311 athletes, all men, to participate. But from the first, the United States has excelled, forming a proud, colorful record of Olympic success. Indeed, the first gold medal in those games went to an American, a certain James B. Connolly of South Boston. He jumped 44 feet, 11 3/4 inches in the hop, skip, and jump, later to be known as the triple jump, to begin a tradition of U.S. victories that continues to this day. The Stockholm first enduring Olympic hero, our first superstar. His name was Jim Thorpe, and his pure athleticism would capture the imaginations of Americans for decades to come. He had come out of the Oklahoma territories, part Irish, part French, but mostly of Native American ancestry. He won fame as a college football player of extraordinary skills. He seemed to delight in his own talent, and was, as he once said, never too whipped to try another game. As a 24-year-old Olympian in Stockholm, Thorpe became the only man to win gold medals in both the decathlon and the pentathlon. It was in the decathlon that the Thorpe legend was born. He accumulated 8,412 points, a world record. When Sweden's King Gustav V awarded the medals, he proclaimed Thorpe the greatest athlete in the world. "Thanks, King," said the reticent Thorpe. He came home a hero, but his joy was short-lived. When it was revealed that Thorpe had played Bush League baseball for money before the Olympics, he was stripped of his medals. He never regained those medals. But in 1982, 29 years after his death, the International Olympic Committee finally pardoned Thorpe and gave the medals back to his children. In Los Angeles, the world marveled at another American, Mildred Didrikson. Everyone called her Babe. She was an outspoken woman, boasting of her gold medal abilities, but her actions on the track spoke louder than her words. Women were allowed to enter only 3 events in 1932. Babe had qualified for 5, but settled for the javelin, the high jump, and the 80-meter hurdles. In winning 2 gold medals, she set 2 world records and 1 Olympic record. She would go on to the sport of golf, becoming one of the greatest golfers in history. She was truly one of the greatest women athletes of this century. John Carlos and Tommy Smith were united in their resolve to establish racial equality in America. Their event, the 200 meters, became the forum for their expressions of protest.
Smith has done it with his hands in the air. And I don't know whether Carlos got second or whether it was Norman of Australia. I think Norman of Australia leaned to beat John Carlos. 19.78.
For black people everywhere, Smith said after the medal ceremony. Dick Fosbury produced another stunning development in 1968 in the high jump. Other athletes traditionally executed the jump face down over the bar. But this intense young perfectionist thought there might be a better way. He experimented endlessly and finally devoted himself to a technique so innovative it would bear his name, the Fosbury flop. Dick's idea was to twist the body on takeoff so that he would clear the bar head first, looking skyward, the opposite of what had been done before. He would envision every detail of the approach, the jump, the twist, the landing. Like most innovators, he appeared possessed by his vision. As he prepared, he seemed to talk to himself, encouraging and scolding at the same time. Then he would let fly, and spectators and competitors alike gasped as he would soar in a way no one ever had. Dick Fosbury won the gold in Mexico City and single-handedly revolutionized his sport. Dave Waddle came to Munich a virtual unknown with a case of tendonitis which might flare up and keep him from being competitive at the 800 meters. He was certainly more than competitive as he came from behind, out-kicking the world to win this semifinal. In the final of the 800, Waddle was once again behind.
This is the gold medal! The man who came out of nowhere in the U.S. Olympic trials!
Then came the moment that got so much attention. Waddle, so moved by his victory, forgot to remove his cap during the playing of the national anthem. Teary-eyed afterwards, he apologized profusely. Many people consider the decathlon the ultimate Olympic event. The winner is known as the world's greatest athlete. That was the goal of Bruce Jenner, the handsome, long-haired American who wished to follow in the footsteps of Americans Jim Thorpe, Bob Mathias, Rayford Johnson, and Bill Toomey. Jenner was confident and mentally tough, qualities needed to survive the two-day ordeal of constant physical challenges. Toward the end of day 2, Jenner was not only on course for a gold medal, but on world record pace. A good finish in the final event, the 1,500 meters, would give him the gold and a world record.
Jenner is driving. And Jenner is coming hard. He is going to finish second in the race, but what is the time? 4:11.41. So Bruce Jenner has kicked the world record into the decathlon sideways.
Bruce Jenner had proven himself at the Games of Montreal to be the greatest athlete in the world. His gold medal and his smile made him known forever as that all-American boy. Joan Benoit of Freeport, Maine, provided America with an extraordinary thrill in 1984. She was the first woman ever to win an Olympic marathon. In L.A., Joni was considered a very long shot. Either Greta Weitz or Ingrid Christensen, Norway's finest runners, would surely win. Joan stuck with the Nordic duo for a short time only. She asserted herself at 3 miles, and she never flagged as the heat came up on that L.A. morning. That quite simply is the story of the race. Benoit took the lead early, held it fairly easily, and won the marathon by a comfortable minute and a half. The race was ordinary, but the event was colossal. Here was a moment of victory for America and for all women, and it was carried on the shoulders of this small New Englander. She entered the Coliseum to the wild applause of 77,000, many of whom had been sitting there for the entire 2 hours, 24 minutes, and 52 seconds. Now here she was before them. Joni took a victory lap. Then someone tossed a flag to her, and she ran another. The cheers of USA, USA, USA rained down on her, and America watched with tearful eyes. In the 110-meter hurdles in Los Angeles, Roger Kingdom would meet the odds-on favorite Greg Foster in a showdown.
This time it is a fair start and a very good start for Kingdom on the outside. Also, Sala of Spain in lane 4. It is Foster moving up in lane 1. It is Kingdom on the outside. It is Foster and Kingdom crossing in tandem. And Brigara of Finland in lane 2 was third. Foster and Kingdom.
Kingdom won by 0.03 of a second, much to the astonishment of Greg Foster. 4 years later in Seoul, Foster would be sidelined with a broken wrist. And Kingdom, wearing his dryland frogman suit, would win again, setting an Olympic record in the process. An underdog in 1984, Roger Kingdom went on to become only the second man in history to win back-to-back gold medals in the 110-meter hurdles. She is unquestionably the finest heptathlete in Olympic history, but she never claimed all the credit. she shared it equally with her husband and coach, Bob Kersey. She came to Seoul heavily favored in the 7-stage event, having set 3 world records during the previous 2 years. In the 100-meter hurdles, she set an ominous tone for the opposition with a comfortable. From early on, it was clear that Joyner Kersey was flying high in these Olympics. Her 6-foot 1 1/4-inch high jump topped the field. Jackie and Bob had planned carefully and seriously for the shot put. They knew that others in their field were capable of heaving the nearly 9-pound ball farther. If Jackie could place just 3rd or 4th, she'd be in good shape. When she turned in a 51.5-foot throw, good for 2nd place, she allowed a smile. The 200 meters is the 4th and final event of day 1. It is a test of speed, to be sure, but coming at day's end, it measures an athlete's stamina as well. The emotional stress is just as great as the physical, but Jackie handled it beautifully, winning again. She had been first in 3 of the day's 4 events. She was understandably confident as day 2 began. She had an outstanding start, and today's first event was her specialty, the long jump. As they did for every stage of the competition, Bob and Jackie had planned for this. It was straightforward, a must-win. And she did it again. It was the longest jump in heptathlon history. As the javelin competition began, Joyner Kersey knew that a good throw here would practically assure her of a gold medal. 3rd place was a good target, but Jackie was always a woman who exceeded expectations, even her own. Her throw of 149 feet 9.5 inches was good for a solid 2nd place, and unless she ran a disastrous 800-meter final event, the heptathlon was hers. Mission accomplished. With a total of 7,291 points, she set a world record in the heptathlon. But there was still another test before her. 5 days later, in the individual long jump, Jackie faced Heike Dreschler of East Germany. She had been ranked the world's best. Jackie faced a monumental challenge. In the 4th round, the German leaped 23 feet 8 1/4 inches, while Jackie Joyner Kersey fouled. Now in the 5th, it was Jackie's turn to answer back. Jump was a new Olympic record, 24 feet 3 1/4 inches. A gold medal performance for Jackie, and every bit as much for Bob. Joyner Kersey left Seoul, having accomplished everything she and Bob had set out to do. Cassius Clay was born in Louisville, Kentucky in 1942. He would become the best-known athlete on the face of the earth. Few could have guessed at his astounding future as a brand power that would one day be his trademark. But as the pole wore down, the American seemed to get fresher. Clay was stung again in round 2, but his stamina and alertness were the vital factors. Now in the 3rd round, Clay took over. His fancy footwork displayed here would one day become the legendary Ollie Shuffle. Now, his combinations were in sync. His quickness left the European practically defenseless. Would this rally be enough? Everyone, including the usually brash and confident Clay, was uncertain of the decision. By a unanimous decision, Clay had won. The young man from Cassius Clay returned home as one of the great Olympic stories. He would go on to become the greatest in the sport of greats, Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier's career, too, was launched at the Olympics in Tokyo in 1964. He was a fierce puncher, and in no bout was his attack more vicious than against the Soviet fighter Vadim Yemelyanov. Frazier was relentless in pursuit of the Russian, who found it practically impossible to either land a blow or cover up. The American was illustrating a boxing textbook. Yemelyanov left, battered and confused. Joe Frazier went on to a gold medal and eventually a World Heavyweight Championship. Still another future heavyweight champion was spawned by Olympic competition. George Foreman of Houston, Texas, came to Mexico City with both barrels blazing. The second round of the final with Jonas Chipulis of the Soviet Union has been called by some the most one-sided round in Olympic history. Foreman bombarded his opponent without pause. Blood cascaded from Chipulis' nose and mouth. He fought in what seemed a daze, lashing out occasionally just by instinct. The big Texan landed punches at will, and every one of them staggered the Russian further toward defeat. Then, seconds before the end of the round, the fight was stopped. And another link in the chain of great American Olympic boxers was forged. Ray Leonard had all the right stuff. He led a hugely talented U.S. boxing team to Montreal in 1976. And with his bright personality and classic skills, he charmed everyone. Except, of course, people like Andres Aldama, his Cuban opponent, in the light welterweight final. He called himself Sugar Ray, after the legendary champion Robinson of the 40s and 50s. Longtime observers said he was every bit as quick and could lay his man low with either hand. In Montreal, a calcium deposit in his right hand was causing Leonard great discomfort. It had become so intense, a forfeit was possible. But for the 3 minutes of each round, Ray would not even consider his own pain. He would only inflict it. In the final round of the gold medal bout, the Cuban fighter, a soldier in Castro's army, stood up gamely to the stylish American. But Leonard's combinations were too much. Aldama was helplessly stunned. Sugar Ray's star was born in Montreal. In a brilliant career that followed, it never dimmed. Before 1948, no American man had ever won a figure skating medal in the Olympics. Dick Button would change that and set U.S. skaters on a victory course that continues to this day. In St. Moritz, he became the first person in the Olympic Games to successfully execute a double axel. Button, described as devilishly handsome, introduced new elements that would change the sport forever by adding athletics to figure skating, moving it further away from dance and more toward jumps and spins. He easily won the gold medal and came home the talk and toast of the town.
If I could do it again, I'd certainly try my very hardest to win it all over again for the USA. It's a wonderful thing to get back. You never really appreciate the United States until after you've gone away and found out what you're missing, and then you come back and see it all over again. Certainly happy to get home again.
Button would forego monetary temptations to enter Harvard University. 4 years later, then a Harvard senior, Button felt compelled to bring still more innovation to the Olympics. This was the triple loop, another creation of Dick Button's. a daring piece of acrobatics and discipline that thrilled audiences and judges alike. Dick Button won another gold and sculpted a new direction for figure skating. By 1968, the influence of Dick Button was felt throughout the sport. Beautiful, lithe Peggy Fleming exemplified the modern skater in her performances at Grenoble. She outclassed the competition handily and won first-place votes from every judge. Peggy's gold medal was the only one for the USA in Grenoble. The girl next door, Dorothy Hamill, was not so coincidentally coached by Carlo Fassi, coach of Peggy Fleming and other top-ranked Americans. Fassi was brilliant as a teacher, but it was his ability to meld each skater's personality with her athletic ability that gave him genius. Fleming had had an aura, almost a mystery about her. But in Hamill, Fassi saw pure perk. She was everybody's best gal, irresistible. It had nothing to do with skating, but the Hamill hairstyle became the rage for young women around the world. Like Fleming, Dorothy Hamill's Olympic victory was unanimous. She won the gold and our hearts. At the Los Angeles Games, the United States enjoyed unprecedented success in gymnastics by winning 1 individual gold, 3 silvers, and a bronze. The U.S. had never had a group this strong, led by senior member Bart Connor. The always solid Peter Vidmar. The daring performances of Mitch Gaylord. This team took home the gold. But there would be no upstaging Mary Lou Retton, the 4'9" dynamo who would make an Olympic dream come true. The women's all-around gymnastics event consists of the horse vault, uneven bars, the balance beam, and floor exercises. With only the floor exercises and vault remaining, Mary Lou trailed the Romanian champion, Ekaterina Szabo, by 15/100ths of a point. To win, she had to give the performance of her life. As a young child, she had fantasized about this, taking the spotlight at the Olympic Games, running, leaping, twisting, competing against the best. On this day, her floor work was exquisite. She had scored the magical 10. But Szabo scored a 10 also, and so the gold medal would be decided on the vault.
Remember, she needs 995.
Don't worry about it. Cassius! Oh, big Cassius!
The dream had come true. At 4'9", she stood on top of the world. Johnny Weissmuller, who won 5 gold medals in 1924 and 28, later won enormous fame in the movies as Tarzan. But Mark Spitz, competing in Munich, achieved success even Tarzan might have envied. He reached beyond any previous human expectations and won as no one ever has. Mark Spitz was simply an ideal swimmer. His technique was so precise that coaches, his own and others, used him as an illustration of the standards for their charges. During 1 week in Munich, Spitz achieved the impossible. First came the 200-meter butterfly.
57.
Continue his rampage in the 4x100 freestyle.
Mark Spitz is bringing this in one for the States, and just a fantastic finish. Then it's the USSR, and it's East Germany still just ahead of Bobby Casting for Canada. Mark Spitz has touched the United States, wins it. The USSR, and it's East Germany.
Then another world record in the 100-meter butterfly. 3 more golds would follow for Spitz. In the 4x100 medley relay, he would attempt to win a 7th gold medal. Spitz swam the second leg. With his powerful butterfly stroke, the U.S. built a commanding lead.
The anchor leg, it's now a question of how much time it'll take him. We're looking at a new world record, no question about it. Mark Spitz has 7 gold medals. He's won everything that he had hoped to win.
In 1 week in Germany, Mark Spitz had won 7 gold medals and had set 7 world records. The question about Matt Biondi was how far could he go? He started slowly, finishing 3rd in the 200-meter freestyle. In the 100-meter freestyle, Biondi hit his stride. He found the stroke that would now carry him, power him to 5 gold medals. Biondi once said the best swimming lesson he ever received was from the dolphins he swam with one hot day in the Bahamas. Watching them made me aware of how water moves across my body. The best swimmers are the ones who know how to swim through the water, feel the water. Watching the dolphins heightened my awareness. It was a lesson well learned. Time and time again, Biondi would collect gold. Other teams looked confident at the introduction for the 4x100 medley relay. But the Americans, the best in the world, were the loosest of all. David Burkhoff built a lead on his back. Richard Schroeder, breaststroking, added to it. Biondi, flying this time, added to that with a monster butterfly. And Christopher Jacobs, who along with Biondi was a premier freestyler of Team USA, brought home the gold. Time was 3 minutes 36.93 seconds, a world record. Second place didn't diminish the Canadian team's enthusiasm, but it was the Americans with a remarkable time. And now there was just no stopping the 6'7" Biondi. He had already won 3 gold medals. Now he was giving everything in the 50-meter freestyle, an event that was reinstated this year after an 84-year absence from the Olympics. He pounded the water like a man possessed. Every crashing stroke rocketed him closer to the finish. One could see that to Matt Biondi, this would be the most precious medal of all. Gold in the 50-meter freestyle. the 4x100-meter medley relay, the 4x200-meter freestyle relay, the 100-meter freestyle. 4 world records, 7 trips to the podium, 5 of them to the highest spot. Matt Biondi was top dolphin in Seoul. In
pass the puck and don't think they're not tough. They've got all the skills.
Poked away by Terrain, picked up by Cleary. Bill Cleary coming in.
But it was the Americans, not the Soviets, who found the net.
And I can remember goaltender Puchkov just left about a foot on the short side, and I just slid it along the ice in the short side. And it was, you know, I guess it seems easier than it should have been, but it worked.
Across to Williams, over to Bill, Bill shoots, goal!
Down 2-1, the Americans came back to win 3-2.
We were at a pretty high, and we had to get ourselves back together, because if we didn't win the Czech game in the morning, the game with Russia would mean nothing.
Watch Bill Cleary all the way, breaks through, breaks the goalie, puts it in, right side, Nautical.
The very next day, they won the gold with a furious third-period comeback. The U.S. team had many heroes, including brothers Billy and Roger Christian. 20 years later, their nephew and son Dave Christian helped lead the charge at Lake Placid.
My uncle and dad had played in 1960 and won the gold medal. It was something that I had dreamed about doing all the while I was growing up, and I was, able to read the clippings and look at the scrapbooks and really kind of get a feel for what maybe it would be like if I was ever in that position.
As individuals, the 1980 players were gritty and dogged. As a team, their pattern was to give up a couple of goals or more, then roar back to win. So it was as they beat West Germany 4-2 after having been down 2-0. The win put them up against the greatest hockey team in the world, the Soviets.
The unique thing about the Russians, the Soviet teams, you see a sea of red. You see a team. The team stands out more than individuals, and that's what always made them such a great team.
I don't think we thought, well, we're going to go out here and beat these guys. I think we just said, well, let's keep respectable and stay in the game.
From the beginning, the Americans proved they could skate with the Soviets. Their tenacious forechecking kept the Soviets' superior passing and skating in check. This was a physical contest, one which played into the United States' hands. The U.S. team found itself able to swap goals with the Soviets. First, they were tied at 1. Midway through the third, they were tied at 2.
Snyder, Buzz, long slap.
When we scored to go up, I think everybody looked at the clock and we got a lot of time left. We said, and when we scored, you just kind of wish could the game be over right now, because then we had to hang in there.
said, you were lucky, it's a fluke, you're too young, you're 7th seed, and you can't pull it off, all right? So I turned 20 guys against me, got them a little mad at me, but I'm trying to get them, right focused for the last game, because if we don't win the last game, it's 4th place, and that's it.
To win the gold medal, Team USA had to defeat Finland in the final game. If not, because of their overall record, the Soviets would win the tournament after all. Predictable fashion, the Americans stayed close to the opposition for 2 periods. But this was a team that would not, some said could not lose. Man for man, the U.S. outperformed the Finns. And perhaps the man who did most in this game was goalie Jim Craig, who stopped shots in every conceivable and some inconceivable ways. With just over 3 minutes to play, the U.S. scored a goal that put them ahead by 2, and then there were 7 seconds.
The crowd going insane at the moment. Bedlam in here, stomping. 5 seconds to the gold medal, 4 to the gold medal. This impossible dream comes true.
They were blue-collar kids who had just the right combination of talent and guts. As the anthem played, the team had a moment of calm to reflect on what had happened. It was amazing, Martin said. Right then and there, we were celebrating a national holiday.
Hi, Mike Eruzione again. And as you have seen, the Olympic Games have provided some incredible moments that have had a profound effect on American life. They've given us a unique set of heroes and a bank of memories that are an important part of the national experience. Thanks for joining us.
Come on. Oh. Come on.
Mopar, the parts made for Chrysler Corporation vehicles.